All Blacks, folks, and the All Blacks 15. Two teams are travelling to the Northern Hemisphere in October and November. We'll go through the fixtures, which are on the board, plus the two squads that have been named. We'll keep it kind of quick because it's been out for a couple of days. But yeah, you guys can let us know your thoughts. And maybe who's lucky or unlucky to be in the squad. Unlucky to be in the squad. Unlucky to be left out of the squad. The fixtures for the ABs, Japan, Wales, Scotland and England. So some pretty tasty looking fixtures there. And then the All Blacks 15 taking on an Ireland A side and then the Barbars. So timing of the games means that there's a little bit of room for some players, which Fozzie has directly mentioned, to potentially play against Japan for the All Blacks and then be sent to play for the All Blacks 15 against maybe Ireland and the Barbars. But looking at the All Blacks squad first, I will chuck it up, but I'm not going to go through all the players because it's pretty steady as she goes. There's no real dramas in the squad. The same hookers, pretty much, I think the same props. I mean, guys like Lomax and De Groot have been in cracking form, so that's pleasing to see. There is an addition to the squad with the likes of ALB being back. He's played 40-odd minutes of rugby NPC level for Waikato. He's been out for a long time, but he's essentially back on his reputation. Braden Enor, who's kind of been fluctuating in and out of the camp, has been named to travel as well. Remember, he's kind of flexible in that he can cover a lot of positions if he plays in the outside backs as well, but he is essentially there as a midfielder. Some of the guys who've been lacking a little bit of game time, the likes of Alesta Fainga-Anuku, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Folau Fakatava, Stephen Perefeta. These are maybe some of the guys, probably not Fakatava because they've only named three halfbacks, but the likes of Perefeta and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, these are some of the guys that you may expect to see potentially start against Japan and then play for the All Blacks 15, I would say. If Fozzie is hinting to that, there has to be something to it. It sounds like they've got a pretty firm plan. But for the most part, the All Blacks squad is pretty stable. I note that they've named Geordie Barrett as an outside back rather than a midfielder. Hopefully he gets another crack at 12 one way or another. But yeah, as I said, it's pretty steady as she goes. There's no real dramas there. The All Blacks 15 squad is an interesting test of the All Blacks depth. And I should say, interestingly, usually these kind of representative teams, like the level below your main national teams, still capture players for the country, right? If you play for that team, you can't play for another international team until you do the stand-down period. But apparently, according to New Zealand Rugby, this squad is not going to be, I guess, official enough to capture the players. They're not like registered with World Rugby or something to capture players. So there's a few guys in the squad who would be eligible for multiple countries. I mean, Ollie Jaeger is certainly eligible, I think, for Ireland and maybe England too. Mark Talea is eligible for like South Africa, New Zealand, I think Samoa. Levi Aumua is directly playing for Moana Pacifica. One of the purposes of getting that squad together is to produce players to play for Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, right? So it's interesting to see him named in an All Black style side, but if he's not being captured, maybe that's kind of a bit less of an issue. There's multiple guys, but those are just some of the ones off the top of my head. It's also an interesting one that you've got some kind of experienced All Blacks in this team, the likes of Anangas Tavao, Patrick Tuipulotu, the two halfbacks, TJ and Brad. D-Mac, Damien McKenzie, he's in this side. So there's a bunch of guys who've been in the All Blacks before and aren't like spring chickens. Like TJ's 30, Brad's 31, Paddy's 29, like even D-Mac's 27. Yeah, these guys, how much they gain from being in an All Blacks 15 compared to maybe blooding one of the youngsters is obviously an interesting one. I guess this is the All Blacks just saying, we want you to get some game time, but we don't have enough spots to fit you in, and we want to kind of keep the cohesion going with the team proper. So I can't imagine that Brad Weber or TJ is particularly thrilled to be in an All Blacks 15 compared to the All Blacks proper, but I guess it still means they're in some kind of contention, which is more than we can say for some of the guys not named. But I mean, there's some other guys like really pleasing to see, like the likes of a Tamaiti Williams. He's only 22 years old, but he's a big unit of a prop to see him get a crack. Josh Dixon, my dad really loves that guy, so good to see him get a crack in the locks as well. I mean, Billy Harmon, Luke Jacobson, I mean, Michele Tu'u for sure, Marina Michele Tu'u. We've got loads of loose forwards. I mean, the fact that there's no Peter Gus Sawakula, despite playing a couple of games, although there's rumours that he's had an off-the-field issue, which is why he's not selected. I can't confirm that, but a couple of sports journals have mentioned it. Tom Christie. Tom Robinson is injured, like with concussion, but, I mean, we got loads of loosies, so you could go on endlessly about which guys have missed out. But pleasing for those guys that did make it. I mean, Levi Almua, if he does get internationally capped at some point, that's going to be phenomenal. Bryce Heem at 33, he has been playing well. But 33 is an interesting one to be named for a side like this, I would say. Nankivell was great for the Chiefs all year. No Sean Stevenson's an interesting one because I haven't seen that much of the NPC, but even I know he's been really electric. So obviously still good to see a couple of Blues boys and AJ Lamb and Mark Talia there. But yeah, it is an interesting one. It's a decent mix of proper experienced All Blacks and a bunch of youngsters who get a chance to kind of take a step up. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a fun one to watch in October and November. There's going to be a ton of international rugby on, which is really pleasing. But what do you guys reckon? Are you pretty happy with the squad? Who you gutted to see miss out, especially on that All Blacks 15, because that's the one where there's some legit surprises in terms of omissions. I think the All Blacks squad itself is pretty stable with limited tests to go before the World Cup. Fozzie's not trying to really make wholesale changes. I think the most we'll see in terms of changes will be the Japan game, even though he said on the breakdown that he's still going to name his strongest team. Ultimately, he's going to name a more experimental team against Japan, and then probably a stronger side in the final three, more consistent, I would say, to build those partnerships. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. How do you reckon the All Blacks go on their tour? Can you see them going 4 from 4? What is Fozzie's kind of requirement going to be in terms of what's a pass, what's a fail? And it's going to be a good test of the All Blacks depth to see how this All Blacks 15 goes, especially against an Ireland A side, and then what could be a pretty exciting Barbars team. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.